Welcome everybody to another episode of Cho Thoughts. I, of course, am the Big Show. That is Big E. We have a lot to cover. This is the post WrestleMania episode. Um, First and foremost, we'll start with night one, then we'll do night two, and then we'll get into the Raw after WrestleMania. Of course, we'll throw in some little things that happened this weekend, of course, just so people that don't really care for wrestling can still be somewhat updated. Um, First and foremost, let's get the eclipse out of the fucking way because
Oh
oh
yeah,
my
that happened.
god, I was like, um, I don't know if if like your daughter's school let out, but Xander's school let out at 11 o'clock. I'm like, dude, I don't understand why. Like the eclipse ain't coming till 2. They let him go at 11, and it didn't make
Pittsburgh
any sense
Public
to me.
didn't.
No. And then I got home, like I came home early because like with the exhaustion of the weekend, you know, I came home and I started seeing it because I got home about 2 o'clock. And then I was, catching up with like the interviews, like Pat McAfee, all that stuff from this weekend. And then, I mean, to me, it seemed like a cloudy day. You know what I mean? If you didn't
Mhm.
have, I guess, your glasses or you didn't have a good spot to see it, it seemed like a cloudy day to me. But I will say it was funny watching the community of the trailer park like come out at like 3 o'clock. And of course, with the weather being the way it is,
Mhm.
I have the wind or the door open and I'm hearing all this commotion. And I was like, do not tell me they are this fucking amped over the eclipse. Like, there's no way. And sure as shit, I shit you not, about 3:30 ish, something like that, maybe about 3:45. I saw it was dark, so I went over and I went out and I put on the old pit vipers, the panty droppers. There you go, get them on. And I didn't
Can't
have
see shit.
those, but I did. I just put on the pit vipers real quick and just glanced up. Now, people are gonna be like, "Oh my god, I didn't burn no fucking retinas or anything like that. I could still see," but um, I caught it, and I got a pretty good picture of it too. But then I went back at my house. Like, woo, like that was it. And I still saw like people still sitting out there. And one of the neighbors, bro, I shit you not, he was doing like the Donald Trump the last time there was. He's like, and all I thought of was the SpongeBob episode where he's like, my eyes, and he's staring at it, squinting. But he seemed like he had one or two libations, or maybe
Yeah,
even seven.
it just so happened because Pittsburgh Public Schools didn't do anything, so they let out normal time, which for my kid was right at that time. So, and she had glasses, so we went out front and we're looking at it, and then two other neighbors came out and were checking it out. So we stood outside for about maybe 10-15 minutes. We watched it like transition a little bit. Like we could see like because here in Pittsburgh we didn't get the full effect.
Yeah.
So we watched it like you could watch it cross over the sun like a little bit. Like we didn't watch the whole thing go across, but we just watched it like a little bit of the start and then a little bit at the end. Like we just watched the two different like phases, I guess you could call it. I don't know.
Right.
But
But
that
that was
was
basically it, right?
yeah.
But the thing I love is in getting ready, because like I do my, if I don't have Xander, I FaceTime Xander. I checked him and saw how his day was. He said he watched it a little bit. And then I got done with him and I was kind of just scrolling through socials, waiting on Monday Night Raw. And it was like all these conspiracies, of course.
Oh yeah, there's so much. People thought the world was gonna end, and
Yeah, like they did the eclipse so we can time jump to like 2017 when the last time it was here. And I was just like, what? Like,
yeah,
what? And then it just makes me think that there's people that fucking believe this shit. So, anyhow.
I watched like I said, we went outside for a little bit, and then I came in and I watched Al Roker. Al Roker, we got to watch him experience the eclipse. He was in Dallas, Texas, because they were the first U.S. city to get hit with it. Um, so that's where he was at, like their version of like actually the name of it was the Carnegie Science Center, and I'm like, I didn't know that was out of like.
Me
I
neither.
assume other cities have their own little science center places for kids, but I didn't know it was specifically the Carnegie.
Yeah.
But it was in Dallas, so that's where he was stationed with a bunch of fans and people. But like, it was just funny watching him because I think like he cried, like, and I'm like, I get it for him, like being a meteorologist, like it's, I guess that's his world, that's his thing.
Granted, it's like his
But
moment.
I
I
just
get
was
it.
like, we went out, we checked it out. I was like, okay, we experienced it. Jane was like, sure did. And then we came back in.
Yeah, and then I was seeing like because I kind of did the same thing because I was gonna put on McAfee, and then I saw the Peacock had like the solar eclipse, like
Yeah,
so I clicked on it and I was like, oh my god, like there's like all these people and like watching it and whatnot, and I was like, I I don't get it, you know,
yeah.
I get that it's a once in a like so many years thing, I get it, and but I'm not gonna go out of my way.
And there was people that I was, like I said, I watched that. So yeah, NBC had their coverage. Like it was basically like the people from like the Today Show again, Al Roker or whatever,
Yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
couple other the anchors. They were spread out across the U.S. And then I was curious, and I flipped over to the Weather Channel, and they had that. What the hell is it? Jim Cantor. They had him on, and he was in Indianapolis. Um, they did a whole like block party thing at the Indianapolis Speedway for people to watch it.
Okay.
And but the people they were interviewing, like just spectators, whatever, they they're like, I traveled from here, I traveled from there. Like there was these one guys that NBC interviewed. They traveled from Florida all the way up to like Connecticut. And I'm like, what? I don't
Why?
like I don't, yeah, I'm just like, I mean, I get it. I get, there's that space astronaut world, science, whatever. But I'm just like, all I could keep thinking of was like the fucking Big Bang Theory show. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. But, you know, I'm not hating. I've phrased my dad words. I'm not hating. I'm just saying. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
I
I mean,
guess
if
do
that's your thing,
you.
that's your thing. More power
Yeah.
to you if you're going to travel and do the
But,
whole thing. But I mean, that's like I said, like, so like Donna's family all traveled up to Erie for it. Um, Now, granted, we do have our summer place up there, so it's not like they went out of their. I mean, they did, but they didn't go out of their way.
yeah.
Because I mean, they were all up there for the weekend anyway, so they just stayed the extra day on yesterday. But that's what they were like. Oh, is Jane gonna come? And I'm like, well, first off, my kids got school. Like, she's not missing school, and she had work all weekend, so she would have had to have left on Friday with them, and she couldn't miss work. I'm like, I'm not having her miss this shit because of the sun being covered by the moon. Like, my kid wants her pay and she wants her education. Like, so again, we went outside, we checked it out, we did our thing. I mean, she thought it was cool. Like, I mean, she was like, "Oh, check it out." Like, but after a few minutes, you could tell she was like, "All right, what else are we supposed to?" She was waiting for the part. She was waiting to see how dark it was going to get, and it didn't really get that dark.
No, it really
It
didn't.
did get cold though.
Yeah. Uh, that it got like I felt it here because, like I said, I had the door open, and I saw it get like dark, from the clouds and of
Yeah.
course the moon, obviously. But then I'm sitting here and I felt like this breeze just come in, and I was like, oh, well,
They
okay.
they said like some places that like the places that had like the total eclipse, some of those places dropped 10, 12 degrees in temperature.
Right. It just shows you how necessary the sun is.
Yeah,
Like,
fuck that.
yeah, right, for sure. But I don't know. Again, to each his own. You know, it's not our thing. Like it's just not.
Not
But
at all.
I wanted to cover it because it did happen. while we were gone for the week, and
Feel
we
like
were
it's a once in a lifetime thing, but then it's going to happen in 2044. Well, no, that's not a once in a lifetime. Like,
right. I mean, it happened. It's just few and far between. Like, but
just that
then
it happens in different parts of the U.S. every time.
right. But like, what's funny to me is, kind of piggyback into what you were saying, like having Jane stay home to watch the eclipse when she has like school and priorities.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get that. I get that. There's no point in keeping your kid home for no fucking reason when they can be focused on their school and their work, even if it's to catch an eclipse or something else, like being out in the
that's
cold for a long period of time for something fucking stupid. You know, I'm just saying. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, we're parents, and like these kids
priority.
can either experience this at another time when they're older, or they can literally get off their bus and look up at the sky with them glasses on, like you guys got.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's. I mean, she got out. She got out. I picked her up. Or actually, she didn't even. I didn't have to go pick her up. Sure, her friends rode her home from school. She came in, and that's what she was like. Oh, Dad, I got glasses to see the thing, and I was like, oh, cool. And we sat here for a few minutes, waited till it was like our time,
Yeah,
went out in the yard, found the sun, looked up, saw it. We're good. She
that's
didn't miss
it.
school. She didn't miss work.
No.
Didn't miss Raw.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Um, and of course, for our Pittsburgh people, Pirates lost the home opener. So, I mean,
Hey, hey. Pirates are tied for first place in all of Major League Baseball with the New York fucking Yankees. I mean, we lost today, but that's another story.
I'm sorry, what?
We lost today.
Ah, what do you know?
We're 9-3, 10 and, no, yeah, 9-3.
The
This is the best start
season,
the Pirates have had. And
the season just started.
hey, Pat McAfee today had the mayor Sean Casey on, and he said, "Watch out for those Buccos this year." He goes, "They got a squad."
We'll see. If this comes after, if they are doing good after the All Star break, I'll take back what I said.
Well, you're gonna,
I don't think I'm gonna.
you're gonna.
I mean, but yet, on the other hand, you have the fucking Pittsburgh Penguins that have shit the bed pretty much the whole season. Now they're in the fucking wild card for the fucking NHL playoffs, like for the Stanley
Well, we
Cups.
lost yesterday, so
Ah, ah. I
they
didn't watch
lost.
it though. I didn't watch it, so you can't blame me
No,
on.
they lost in over. I mean, they still got a point out of the game because they lost in overtime, but it still we needed more than that because I think Washington won. So, I don't know.
Hmm.
I didn't look at the standings today, so I'm not sure exactly how we sit. But
No, and then of course, so Iowa State lost, so
yeah,
we can
yeah,
stop hearing about
you,
that for a while.
yeah. South Carolina, perfect season, 37-0.
That's fucking impressive. Very fucking impressive. Like the men's
UConn,
Final Four, I watched
yeah,
the beginning of it, and that's it.
UConn, they're a wagon, back-to-back champs.
Yeah, dude. I mean, let's just put it out there. UConn's a force to be fucking reckoned with.
They've always
Uh,
been a powerhouse in basketball.
yeah, even when, you know, shit, how many years? But so
Yeah,
that pretty much covers that. So let's fucking go. Let's get into it. So, night one, I came and saw you. We even did a little live stream
we did.
in the middle of it. Um, so night one was cool. You had fans bitching about the crowd in Philly was dead. I don't think like younger audiences, or I could just be talking about WWE fans and wrestling fans in general. Like they don't understand, and like plenty of wrestlers have talked about it. Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, etc. Like it echoes up, and if they're in a stadium, you're not going to hear nothing.
No.
You know what I mean? Even the wrestlers are even wondering because even I know Stone Cold has vouched for that, saying it's hard to play off the crowd if you really can't hear them.
Mm,
So that's one of the things. It was like, listen, if you're in a dome or an arena, yes, they'll be amazing. But if it's open in any way, shape, or form, it's gonna go up. Like,
Yeah,
so no offense, fuck you if you don't know this by now. Like, if
yeah,
you've watched plenty of WrestleManias by now, you should know that it echoes up. So I wouldn't say the crowd wasn't into it because Philly was electric the whole weekend, from TV programming to like the McAfee show with WWE World, the Slammies, NXT, everything, even Raw, like everything was loud, fantastically loud. And
yeah,
shout out to the city of Philadelphia and everybody that came to WrestleMania, because there was a wow, like over 200,000
yeah.
between all the events. So
Between
it's
Stand and Deliver, night one, night two, and Raw yesterday.
right. That's incredible. So I mean,
Yeah, because I think Triple H said that didn't even account for, again, like the WrestleMania World and the other like convention type things that they did, like the kickoff show type stuff and all that, because that wasn't really like tickets sold. It was just like free to the public type stuff.
yeah, like that, the Slammies, the events, I get it. Um, but yeah, so night one started off with a fucking bang. Mommy versus the man. Uh the only thing I didn't like was how pale the dude from Motionless in White was.
Oh yeah, I
Like I was just like, wow, he's awfully pale. He needs some sun.
that match to me, I was expecting more. I can't say I was disappointed. It was a good match. I mean, I didn't care who won. I felt like the WWE universe, you know, as far as trips in them and like what their next chapter is like, I feel like either one of those girls is obvious. We know Becky can carry the belt. Rhea's carried it for how long now? Like,
Mhm.
so I felt like no matter who won, they were in a good place. No big deal there. Like, it's not like you have to
Yeah.
worry about like, is this going to work? You know, with one of the two still being champ. Um, I just like there was such a build up with that match, with like it all getting so personal, like Rhea talking about Becky and her kid, and just you know there was so much build up, and they were trying to make it so personal, which is what I felt like the theme of this WrestleMania was. Like a lot of the stories had like a real personal background to them,
Yes.
but then the match was kind of just like, I mean, it was good, but like I felt that could have been like a main event on Raw or something. Like I don't feel like that was like a WrestleMania big match.
No, but I'm actually pulling up the card. That way we can kind of go through it, because if we miss something, oh my god, like, you know what I mean. But no, I excuse me, I really wanted, I thought it could go more,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's what I mean. Like
And
it just, like I said, like I felt like it could have been like a Raw main event or a SmackDown main event. Like I don't feel it was like WrestleMania event.
right, and then um I don't know, like both of them did look phenomenal. The match was great. um and then, like, I don't know, I wouldn't say it was quick because it really necessarily wasn't quick, but it just, I don't know, I'm with you, it could have went more.
Yeah.
um Of course, this doesn't have it. The ESPN link doesn't have it broke down by night, and I don't give a fuck. We're just gonna go with it.
Uh, Match two of night one was the ladder match, I believe.
Yes, yes, it was. I was like, let me put. See, this is great. Now I have two things now, so
Oh,
like
too.
have little notes, rips, and whatnot. Um, dude, that ladder match was fucking great.
The ladder match was, and I told you that from the beginning, and I think I might have even mentioned it when we did the pre WrestleMania show. Like I felt like that ladder match was going to be the steal of the night, and at that time I didn't know which night it was on. You know, granted, if it was going to go up against the main title match, that would have been tricky. But the fact that it was on night one, that was the match of the night for me, like top notch. Like, I mean, You had people going through tables. You had uh, ladders breaking, and like wild dudes are trying to climb on them because somebody might have just been beat with it right beforehand. Like,
Right. You almost felt so like it was when we were watching it, again, we're watching it as like seasoned vets.
mhm,
And then you have Brandy, who's brand new,
yeah,
brand new. And I just want to shout her out. Like watching her first,
yeah,
I was like kind of like school kid giddy. But you know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, I was like, oh my God. But it's almost like, it was like, oh my God, because we've watched this since we were kids.
yeah,
So to have somebody who's never really watched it, but she's watched like the Divas, the Bellas, and like the Montez and Belair thing, like just for her to finally watch the product, that was pretty cool. And just
yeah,
watching her, oh my God. And I'm just sitting there and I'm smiling because it's fucking great. But
mhm,
then she's seeing Priest walk up that fucking ladder and then she's like, why is the ref grabbing him? And then I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. And then you and I kind of caught it at the same time that ladder was fucked up.
the leg was
So
broke. Yeah,
yeah, so the ref's trying to tell him like, hey, and then he's in mode. So he's like, hey, stop it, you know? But at the same time, it's like, no, dude, you'd have got fucked up. And
yeah,
then I don't know if like Truth was gonna try to go up there or whatever, but it was like I love how he said, I had to go get another ladder. Well, yeah, somebody who got really fucked up.
yeah,
But it was great. It was fucking phenomenal. I love how DIY came out as Degeneration X.
yeah,
Like that was really cool. Um, the JD McDonough fucking table spot was crazy.
yeah.
Johnny Gargano, dude,
He's a monster.
putting who'd he put through that table again?
Which one? He,
He did like his driver through the table. I forget. I think it was one of the New Catch Republic, if I'm gonna be honest. I can't
uh,
remember. But our wrestling people that watch it can tell us and whatever. That way we're not just stuck on it. But when
yeah,
he put whoever through that fucking table, even both of us were like, damn. Because it was like, oh my. And then of course, nothing's ever wrong with Champa. I love Champa to death.
yeah.
Um, the hot tag.
Oh,
The
dude.
fucking hot tag from R Truth, dude. That made my day. Where all of a sudden Miz is like,
Everybody
dude,
kept
what?
telling him like you won a tag match twice. Like you
Right,
pinned somebody and you climbed the ladder and you didn't have to fucking pin them.
right. Then of course Miz selling the hot tag, and then he comes in fired up like John Cena.
Yeah,
Does the whole "you can't see me" thing, and then um, I really wasn't too thrilled with Grayson Wallen and Austin Theory winning the SmackDown titles, but whatever. Um,
yeah.
I'm I'm not an Austin Theory fan, so if people are fans of his, cool, congratulations. But I'm just not. I don't know. He just
I just think that they're a hot tag team right now. They're kind of like a crowd favorite for. It's kind of like the Awesome Truth. I mean, I think they had the two teams that won the titles that were fan favorites right now, and I mean, we all know. Obviously, everybody thinks that like Awesome Truth is like a good comedic team, basically, like that style of tag team. And I kind of feel the same way about like Grayson Waller in theory. Like, not that so much that they're a comedic team, but they're just kind of like that team that obviously everybody picks on. Like, the whole shit with like KO and them. You know what I mean? Like, so I just think that they're just over on the fans right now. So it was like, all right, we'll just have them hold the title. I mean, I think again in that match there was another one where I don't think there was anybody in that match that if they would have won, you would have been like, "Oh, that's horrible."
no. I was actually okay with everybody that was in it, and the outcome was great for both teams. For the titles to be split,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
that
I'm
was
just happy
great.
they split them back up again.
Yeah. So but of course we'll get into the Judgment Day a little bit into it. Um, then you had I believe it was Jimmy and Jay.
Yeah, Jimmy and Jay fought night one.
I I wanted more. I
Yeah,
wanted
that was
so
another
much
one that
more.
I felt like they definitely left some
Yeah.
shit on the table.
because like you said with Rhea and Becky, there was so much good build up, the promo package, just everything getting to it.
Yeah.
And like the promo package was, I think, better than the match.
Yeah.
Like I like they came out and did like a super kick fest. And I'm like, you know, I mean, if you've seen one super kick, you've seen them all. Unless it's something extraordinary like Shelton Benjamin and Shawn Michaels or something like
Yeah.
that. But I don't know. It didn't really do nothing for me. I'm glad Jay won. You know, especially seeing Brandy as a Jay Uso fan and eating
Yeah.
all over the place. But like, I feel bad because I figured we would talk about this a lot today. But there's really nothing to talk about it. It was just like it seemed very quick, very fast paced, and then, well, you know, like that was the end of it.
Yeah.
Um, and then if we got them out of order, come the fuck on. We really had a lot to do this weekend. Um, I believe was yeah, Gunther and Sammy was the first night.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
that
was the um I think that was the match right before the main event.
okay. Because
They were like second to last, I think.
yeah, all right, then I'm just one out of order because I have the next one. Um, but dude, that's fucking great. That's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that
Like
was a good match.
it was. I mean, to see Sammy knock off Gunther after what 660 some days as champ.
Yeah. I
Like,
told you it was that doomed 666.
yeah, right. But yeah, like put in the effort, and then a lot of shit talking this WrestleMania. Like, see, Gunther was talking to Sammy's wife.
Yeah.
And look where it gets you. You don't
Like
talk
I
shit.
said, I feel like this year's Mania had like personal shit to it. Like, I mean, it it yeah, like you said, just like bringing in people's family into the mix. I mean, we all know what happened with like the whole bloodline as far as that getting personal, but it was just like I think there was that sprinkled throughout the whole show,
Yeah,
like the build up and everything to it. Like again, like I think that um you could just get that feel that vibe. At least that's the way I felt. So
right.
yeah, like you said, like yeah, like Gunther, yeah, like you said, talk to Sammy's wife, which you only knew that was gonna piss him off.
Yeah, you can't talk shit to the fucking family members. I mean, we'll talk about that later too. But yeah, congratulations to Sami Zayn for winning the Intercontinental title. And then Jade, Naomi, and Bianca against Damage Control.
Yeah,
I
that match wasn't needed.
I don't think so. I mean, I love the the three powerhouse of black women and what it's for, whatnot. I don't like the fact that the women's tag team titles, like I feel like they mean nothing. You know what I mean?
That's why that was like my big gripe because it was like if you're gonna like I don't understand why the women's titles weren't defended. Like
Yeah,
it just made no sense to me.
right. None at all. It seemed like the way it was coming off because Bianca was dealing with damage control for so long. Be like, all right, cool. She has people in her corner. On side note, Naomi really shouldn't have mania in her hair. Like, I don't
No,
know. Maybe she's doing some stuff like, good old Sasha or Mercedes is doing on AEW, but I don't know. It didn't work for me. But Jade looked fantastic like she does. I'm a Jade Cargill fan. Um, the thing that just was killing me, it was just like, I don't want to say filler because I don't feel like any match this year was filler.
oh that
But
one I'll call that match out and say it was definitely a filler match.
well, that's because you're supposed to be the yin to my yang. All right.
I don't give a
But
shit.
but nonetheless, but like I don't know. I really feel like I was so excited when they finally brought in the women's tag team titles,
Yeah.
but they don't do shit with it. Now I'm thinking maybe in this new era, this Paul Levesque era, whatever you want to call it,
He
maybe
doesn't
they
want you
will.
calling it that.
What's that?
He says you better not be calling it that.
Yeah, that's what he says. But we we're the universe. We say what we want. So like the sad part is there really wasn't too much to discuss about it. Jade came in like a fucking powerhouse, like she is. You had Bianca whipping her hair back and forth. I
Yeah.
mean that should be hurting. I don't give a fuck. And
Yeah, because you heard that. That shit was.
that shit, yeah, that shit hurts.
Yeah.
And it was just good to have Naomi back, like in WrestleMania, like back in the
Yeah.
picture, back home. But other than that, that was that.
No, you missed
Um,
the match.
which one?
Huh?
Which one?
The border jumper match.
They don't have that in here. I forgot about it. But if you want to
The
call it the
Mysterio
border
and
jumper match, that's on you. You deal with the bullshit. You deal with the consequences that come from it. And if I have to get a new co-host in like fucking next week, I got one on standby. But
yeah, it
anywho,
was the Mysterio Andrade against
Mysterio and Andrade against uh with the LWO against what is their name? Like the Santos, what is it?
El
Phantom.
Delgado, Phantasma, El
Yeah.
Gato.
I was like, yeah, for somebody who knows fucking Spanish, you think I would know it. But of course, and then you got fucking Dirty Dom Mysterio. Like, but
That match was another one. I felt like it was a filler. Like I don't know why we needed that match. And then in that match, obviously, you had the good old Kelsey and Lane Johnson, and come out. They had to include the Eagles boys in there somehow.
yeah, I mean,
It was all
I
right.
I
I
enjoyed it.
don't think it was anything spectacular. I didn't hate it, but
Right. I mean, I didn't hate it, but I'm not gonna wow over it. I think I'm over Dom. I'm super over Dom. Like he just,
well,
but he is a fucking really good heel.
yeah, I
Like,
think that's the thing. Again, he's another one that he's over on the fans, but for the like negative way.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
he plays a good heel. Like, they brought him in when he was wrestling with his dad at first, and he obviously he was on the babyface side because he was wrestling with his dad. But it's like ever since he made that turn and screwed over his dad, it was like, yeah, he's played the heel card pretty good.
Yeah,
Because it's not even like he really tries. It's just that everybody hates him.
yeah, pretty much. I was like, I am a fan of Andrade. I love how he came out in that black mask. It's
Yeah.
like, I wish he would have came out like what he did in AEW, like the black mask with the pinstripe suit,
Oh
kind
yeah.
of like paying homage to Black Mask from DC.
Mm.
But it's whatever. Um, yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, but like, I really don't have too much to cover except the Eagles men came out and fucking in their luchador mask and fucked everybody up.
Yeah.
Kind of fucked up Dom, but that's eh, that's it.
That's what he
Like,
gets.
and then I think
And
that's
then
everything. Yeah.
that after that, then it's just the main event, which
Then
was
it's the main event,
the tag
which
match.
the tag match between Cody Rhodes, Seth freaking Rollins, The Rock, and Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Wow. First and foremost, I don't know. Seth was taking one hell of a fucking beating.
Yeah.
Like Seth was putting in that fucking work, boy. And then I just kind of want to kind of give The Rock his flowers though, because I mean, some people have ring rust and whatnot, and how he was putting rings everywhere and getting himself ready. And I know people will talk shit. I personally think he did okay. Um, Still sells a punch like a motherfucker. Um, but it almost seemed like The Rock was kind of in there a little bit longer, but I mean, I guess they were saving that for night two. Um, and then, of course, the whipping starts. You know, like
I just feel like so this story took a turn when they had the WWE that press conference thing in Vegas for the like during the Super Bowl.
yep,
And that's when the whole shit happened with Cody picking Roman to be his opponent and the Rock slap, all that shit happened. And it was like I feel like for the bloodline story, as much as they've built that up, Roman Reigns, the twins, Solo, the whole thing, they've been building that for what, 2 years? Easy.
two and a half, some shit like
We've
that.
been in on that. They bring the Rock in, and we think we're getting the Rock versus Roman to end the bloodline, to just kind of go into that, the head of the family table. And I have no problem with, you know, obviously we knew Cody was going to be involved somehow. I mean, we knew his opportunity was coming. Uh, but it's just like I feel like ever since the slap happened at that press conference, the whole like Roman got put on a back burner, and everything was about The Rock. The Rock coming out, what? How many building up to WrestleMania for the last like the 2 weeks or so prior? Like The Rock was on Raw, The Rock was on SmackDown,
The Rock
and
was
it
on
was
fucking Instagram shooting off 20-minute fucking promos.
it
Like,
was him. It was like you would have thought that he was the one fighting Cody in the main event.
yes,
It's like, no, it's Roman. Roman's the title holder. And I'm sorry, like if I was Roman, I'd have been a little pissed. Like, bro, like you're coming in stealing like my limelight, like and I feel like he had all rights to be pissed about because it was like it was Cody. It was almost like Cody versus The Rock, like the whole Mama Rhodes thing, and it's like I get it where you're going, but it was like he's not the one that has the title. Like he's not the one that
yeah,
Cody got to really face. So that kind of bothered me in a way, but I mean, the match was still good. I mean, it I had no problems with it. Like you said, like you can sense that Rock was doing a little bit more of the work, but again, like trying to keep
yeah.
Roman. But the thing was is the Rock was the only one that didn't have a second match. All the other three competitors all had another match to do on night
Except The
two.
Rock got to,
I mean,
go.
he was involved, but yeah,
Go.
we'll get into that. But it's like
He went
so it
back,
was
had some
like
Terramana, put on some Papatui. It's fine.
yeah, so it was just like I like the match. I was still a little personally irritated with how I felt like The Rock was casting that shadow over Roman, who, they're talking about being the GOAT, who has held the title for, 1,000 and whatever days, like, and then, and then The Rock
Yeah,
comes in and like kind of steals that shine, which I'm like, okay.
right.
So, again, I think the match was good. No complaints really about it, like the actual match itself.
Like, if you're a wrestling fan, you kind of saw that happen in night one. Like, you
Yeah.
kind of saw the bloodline rules for night two. And
Yeah,
then if you
they
think
weren't going
about
to
it,
put that stipulation in and then not have it
and then
happen.
not have it. And
Yeah,
then what it kind of was the same build up. Like, he did two crossroads on him. He went through the third, and then he got slapped with the weight belt by The Rock.
yeah,
Here comes the people's elbow. 1, 2, 3. That's a wrap. So that sets up for bloodline rules on night two.
yeah.
So then night two happens. Oh yeah, totally forgot about Lil Wayne coming out performing for Jay Uso.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was surprised. Like there was not surprised. I mean, because obviously you get, WrestleMania, you're supposed to get some of the best entrances. That,
Yeah.
those-
So it was
but
kind of cool to see like Motionless in White. It was cool to see Lil Wayne there.
yeah,
Tons of celebrities in the crowd. There's too
yeah.
many to fucking name. Um, but if you haven't watched it by now, it's on Peacock. Like,
On the
tons
cock.
of shit to watch. It's on the cack. Um, then you know, by the time we got home, I'm X is asleep. Uh Brandy was like, I'm gonna head to bed. And I was like, oh, I'll try to watch the press conference. And I was like, nah, fuck that. Like,
Yeah.
because it was already late. So I watched that the next day. Then, of course, I watched like the Slammies. Um, and like NXT was good, but it's nothing for me to go, oh my God. Like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, except the Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams is exactly what I thought it was going to be with Trick coming out at the end
Yeah.
on. But I was like, in case anybody's like, you didn't cover NXT, then it's not really.
It's on tonight. Get over it.
Yeah, it's on tonight. And then night two, uh, I mean, I wouldn't say that started off with a bang, but it
Well,
actually really
I mean,
did.
night two, yeah. You had Seth and Drew as the
Drew
first
right
match,
out the
which,
gate, and then bang, a Claymore happens, and I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
yeah, they made it seem like the that match was going to end quick.
Because of him being so exhausted from the night before. Great storytelling by Triple H, by the way. Like long term storytelling is what this man is all about. Like cinematography, anime, like long term, just fucking storytelling. Like so, you have to be like as a wrestling fan invested. And then if you think about it, all that storytelling literally catches up at the end of night two. Like
Yeah.
literally does.
Yeah. So, yeah, like that Seth match, like I thought it was going to be over. I was like, okay, like you said, he came out quick with the Claymore, and I'm like, all right, what's going on? And then you could tell that Seth was struggling a little bit. And then the knee thing happened,
Yeah.
and I'm like, because I even commented you, because what that was the match that everybody was worried about his contact lens.
Yeah.
Um,
Hold on, let's just pause for that for a minute because the three of us are watching it, and all of a sudden it's like he's doing this or whatever, and then you're like, you looked at me, you're like, something's wrong, and I was like,
yeah,
what? I was like, I don't know, and then you're like, he's looking for his fucking contact lens, and I look back up at your TV, and I was like, bro, he is, like,
yeah,
that's fucking great,
like
but
I just something didn't seem right with him that night, and I don't know if he got hurt night one and it carried over because I was trying to watch highlights yesterday, and even in that match against Drew, like I was trying to see where maybe he did re-tear the knee or something,
yeah,
and I couldn't figure it out. But I mean, because again, like he was, that was the whole part of the match was is that Drew was going after the bad knee or whatever. So is it
right,
a work or is it shoot really
shoot,
hurt? And I couldn't tell. Um, and then the end of the night, we'll get to that. But
yeah,
so yeah, so that match was good. I mean, it did end up going longer than I expected, but just not longer, but like so the way it started out, I was
the
like,
way it
"Oh,
started out, you thought it was
this is a
like, oh
wrap.
shit,
Yeah, this is a
um,
wrap." But then I was
gotta
like,
give
"Oh no,
it.
they're gonna let it go to length."
Right. Got to give it to the old Filthy Phil, CM Punk on commentary because
Yeah, that was good.
that was great. Like him being out there, and I want to shout out the Pittsburgh boys, of course, Corey Graves and Pat McAfee doing it both nights.
Yeah,
Like that's pretty fucking awesome. But then you have fucking Drew McIntyre coming out on top, kind of rubbing it in CM Punk's face. And then all of a sudden, wham, fucking CM Punk just fucking scoops his leg or whatever, takes the fucking arm brace off. And I was
yeah,
like, what the fuck's happening? Because you
yeah.
and I
Because
both thought like
you were
he's
like,
not
"Oh,
cleared.
he's clean." You automatically were like, "Oh shit, he's good."
And I was like,
But I but I
that's
could
awfully
tell
fast.
like he was still favoring that arm. Like he made sure he kept it out of the way of danger.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
saw that too eventually. Yeah.
I wasn't sure how. I'm like, all right, they're letting him get involved a little bit, but he still's got to be careful because, like you said, he scooped him and then hit him with the brace, and then that was kind of it.
Right,
And
which set
then
up for Damian Priest to come down and
Damian
cash
Priest
in the
cashes
fucking
in.
senior money in the bank, comes down there running. Boricua, he just comes, just, does his thing.
Yeah,
And I was like, fuck, all right. I was cool with that too. Like, that
yeah.
was
Like
pretty
I
fucking
didn't.
fun.
I was like, are they gonna let him win? Are they just gonna have him come in and cash in, and then
Yeah, and then
like
something happens.
he loses, and then okay, now he doesn't have the briefcase anymore. Because
Right.
again,
And they already,
I felt like if he would have lost. that cash in, and then him and Finn not having belts no more. Like I was like, is this going to be like the downfall of
Oh, the
Judgment Day?
Judgment Day.
Like, yeah,
Yeah.
Rhea still has her belt, but we all know Rhea can carry herself on her own. She doesn't need the team.
You know why,
I was
right?
like, oh, but then they had him win, and I'm like, uh, okay, where's it?
Right.
How? All right, and then it was like, oh, well, maybe that's why he lost earlier. Like you start to think about what
Yeah.
happened, and
Like
you're like,
long term.
oh, did he lose night one so that he could cash in night two?
Right. But
Then,
like
but then there's just poor Finn who still got a fucking black who's all fucked up
poor
and no
dude had
belt.
one hell of a welt.
Like you got to give it to Finn though. Like Finn is definitely like another guy that was like you figure he was the first Universal Champion, and then he had to turn it in because of his injury, and like they've used him so much, and I feel like he's taken a step back. Like he's not like a main eventer like they normally use him in. Like,
Right. But then again,
and it's like I said,
also,
more power to him because he's just going with it.
well, if you think about it, these people that got like, we'll get back on Mania, but if you think about all these people that were snubbed or like looked over and
Yeah,
whatnot, that's probably part of the Vince shit still. Now that it's probably trips, I could see a lot of things starting to mix and match and whatnot here.
yeah. Yeah, so after that, we had the Philly street fight with
Yeah.
Lashley against
Street
and
Profits
and the Street
against
Profits against first
AOP, Carrying
First
Cross,
Testament.
First Testament. But I wanted to say, when you said about Rhea Ripley going on her own, I was like,
Yeah.
but you know why, right? Because mommy's
What?
always on top.
She is. And
Yeah.
she I mean she proves it.
Yeah,
Uh
right. Long hair and all. But
I felt like this match, the street fight match was gonna be the downfall of this night. Because I was like, it's another match where I'm like, I just don't I get it. They've built up this rivalry between the two crews, but I'm not really too fond of either crew right now. Like I don't feel like this was needed, like
yeah,
teaming Lashley up with the Street Profits and then putting in Carrion with AOP. Like I just don't feel there was a need for all that.
right.
Um, but uh, it got interesting
Yeah, I mean, you saw Bubba Ray
because
Dudley come back,
you
special
had
event.
two special guests on that fucking card. You had Bubba Ray come back and call the match or ref the match, and then you had Snoop Dogg calling the match. Like
Yes.
that made that match, and the match did end up turning out to be pretty good. There was some pretty good bumps, and then I mean, even the girls got involved, even though they weren't wrestling. They were just supposed
Yeah,
to be out there on the sidelines, and the girls got involved and ended up going through tables. Like,
yeah,
and then you had Bubba Ray.
right. Bobby.
He, he had him testifying.
He had him testifying, and he had him put them all through fucking, have them all take their bomb. Right.
They were breaking grandma's reunion tables, as Snoop said.
Dude, I now, from now on, when I buy a table, I now know how to measure it from Snoop
Yeah,
Dogg.
yeah.
You know, but like that right there is a family reunion table. I was pissing myself. I was
I was
like,
like, this is
what?
great. And then
I was
they,
like,
yeah. So that match turned out to be pretty entertaining. It wasn't stupendous, but it
it was better than what you and I anticipated it to be.
yeah, like I said, I went in with low expectations, so the fact that they were able to keep me occupied was pretty good on their part. Um, and that led into another somewhat boring match that I felt no sense with, which was LA Knight and AJ.
Well, I mean, LA Knight had to give that fucking Slim Jim car to that fucking old lady.
He could have done that without having a whole fucking
A
match.
whole fucking match. You know what I mean? And
I told you
loves.
they lost a spot there because this is again just me speculating, trying to be a wrestling fan, predetermining what I feel Trips is going to do. We were talking about it when you were here. The Bray Wyatt special came out, and at the end of the Bray Wyatt special, spoiler for those that didn't watch it, at the
Spoiler alert. Bow, 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 bow.
at the end, his brother, Bo Dallas, or Tyler,
AKA Tyler.
whatever you want to call him.
Taylor. Taylor. Let's get it right before somebody starts yelling.
Yeah, he says my brother's legend will never die.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have the lamp turn back on.
Yeah, and then it does like, yeah,
And I told you, like, he's, as far as I know, still contracted with the business because he's just taking time off because his brother died.
right.
Go
I did
figure.
find out through our tribal chief, aka Scotty K, that yes, he's still under contract.
Yeah. So I was thinking because LA Knight was the last one to really have like an actual televised match with Bray and the whole Uncle Howdy's character before Bray timingly passed away. Like LA Knight was the one that had like a last storyline with him, and they had that Mountain Dew match.
That pitch black
So
man.
I felt like they could have taken this opportunity of having this boring ass match, but at the end have Bo
You
return
could have
as
cranked it a little bit.
Uncle Howdy, or even as if he wanted to come back as a reincarnation of the Fiend, like just to kind of pick up where they left off with him and LA Knight, and then have that story reintroduce that Bray Wyatt world back into the WWE. Like I was like
Right.
that would have been a cool opportunity, but nope. We had him give away a Slim Jim card to an old lady that's not gonna have that thing go over 50.
No, fuck ass no. And you'll know she's coming. Look, here comes fucking Ethel again. Or a fucking Slim Jim car. God damn. Like, rev
And
it up a notch.
I mean, the match wasn't horrible, but it just I feel like that was definitely a filler match. I
That
feel
out
like
of all of them, I could probably consider that a filler.
there was probably some other storylines in WWE that I feel like we could have had a match replace that.
Yeah, 100%. Like,
But
I don't
so that
know.
was that, and then we had another pretty banger after that. U.S. title, Logan Paul, KO, and
Randy
Orton.
Orton. Yeah, I
Which
mean,
I mean, that match started off with a bang when KO picks up Randy Orton on a goddamn golf cart and
right.
almost throws him off the back,
To the point where he's
flying
yelling at
down
him
the
to
ramp.
slow the fuck down.
I mean, I was like, that was just comedic to start. And then, yeah, that was a good match. I mean, again, I'm not a Logan Paul fan. I give him his flowers for what he does in the ring. Like,
Right.
he's definitely talented. As far as that aspect, I just hate him personality wise. Like, I'm not a fan of his. I mean, and that match it still kept a comedic theme to the beginning of it because, like, KO and Orton teamed up there
Yeah.
to go after Logan, and then there was like a little back and forth with them that was pretty funny.
Right.
Like,
Like
where
when Logan pushed him. Like,
yeah,
pushed
he pushed him. But like
KO
when
and
Orton
Orton.
was teaching KO he was teaching him how to pick him up and do that slam through the
Yeah,
table,
right.
and they both kept. He's like, no, 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 you got to do it like this, higher,
And
higher.
then he kept
He was
going
like,
like, "Oh," he's like, "Oh, because you're taller. I get it.
yeah,
I get it."
yeah,
Like I was
like
fucking crying. Like it was very comedic.
yeah, it was good, and I didn't see Logan Paul really keeping that title. I thought they were gonna after Sammy won night one.
I thought Owen
I
was
thought
gonna.
they were gonna give it to KO, and then you could have KO and Sammy have the two secondary titles.
Yeah,
But I think would have been cool because again, like Orton, okay, you can give it to him. He's going
he
to
don't
carry
need
it
it.
well. But he again, I feel like he's a main eventer. Like he's a guy that
Yeah,
he's going to eventually get back into a main title story here at some point.
hundred
So, but
percent.
if they would have gave it to him, I'd have still been fine with it. I just didn't see Logan Paul keeping it.
My philosophy now is if there's a Logan Paul match, whoever's in the prime bottle is gonna get involved.
And they're going to get their ass beat.
Right. I look. I don't. Anybody can tell me the fucking YouTuber's name or whatever it is. Personally, I don't give a fuck about him. Like I
No,
really didn't. Like,
it's a dumbass.
oh, he then like he's doing that barking shit and he's like talking shit on Orton. I'm like, dude, Orton's gonna fucking destroy this dude.
Dude, he
Next thing
put
you
his
know,
foot
he
right through his
kicked the
chest.
fuck out of him, and I was
Yeah.
like, well, okay. But what did have me fucking pissing myself is when he was barking in his face, and then he RKO'd him through the
Oh,
fucking.
okay, through the table.
Well,
Yeah.
he was like, oh, 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 and he just fucking boom. I was like, yeah, that was necessary. That needed to happen.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
but I
no,
mean,
I did
again,
good.
it was a good match. I that one I was intrigued by. Like I didn't feel like that was going to be a horrible match going into it, and it
No,
kept
but I
its.
did not see him leaving with that title. Like
I
I just
didn't. That was the only thing that kind of stunned me was like him leaving with it. I was like, okay.
yeah, right. Um, and then
And
is that Bailey? We in Bailey now?
Bailey and Io was
Yeah,
after that. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, I
I
don't know. I
was
felt like that was another match. Wasn't bad. Didn't
wasn't bad.
hate it, but I felt there was some shit left on the table. Like you could have had Damage Control get involved, and then maybe bring out some people to help Bailey, like
Right,
some
like you could have brought the
divas
girls
or
out
like
from the floor.
some old school divas or something, to help
Something.
her out. And I get she's trying to go through another character change, but I kept telling you from the beginning I was praying like I thought it would have been a great idea for her to come back out as Bailey the Hugger. Even if it was just for Mania, like not
Yeah, yeah,
completely
like how people do that.
like just come back out as Bailey the Hugger just for one night. And I was like, that'd have been great. I mean, with that stage with some floating buddy things, like that'd have been a cool little show. But, you know, she won.
I mean, yeah, but then she had fucking dudes carrying her down there like old Egyptian style. I did love her entrance because I'm a fan of like ancient Egypt. But like all I thought was if one of them dudes drop her.
Oh yeah, that's what you were worried about. You were worried about her
Because
falling.
like you think about it, everybody else that's did it has like the platform that somebody's sitting on.
Yeah.
I was like, no, they were literally carrying her, and I was like, dude, if one of them drop her,
Like I think it was you said it was almost like a Charlotte Flair style entrance.
yes, very, very much so.
Like that
I
was
mean,
something she'd have pulled off coming out being carried.
oh, 100%. I mean,
But
like I said, it was good. Io puts on a good show too. Io
yeah,
doesn't really get the credit that she deserves.
no.
Um, it was a great match. Both of them did a real good fucking job,
Yeah.
and congratulations to Bailey for winning that title. Now it's just like, wonder how that's gonna go from there because like, who else can she wrestle? Like, again, we'll see with this new era. You know,
Yeah. I mean,
man, like I don't know. A lot. There's gonna be a lot more storytelling because it's like they really like the stories just kept wrapping up. Like they were definitely putting to bed a lot of things.
yeah.
Speaking of, I was like, I think we're there, aren't we? Because we were both wondering, like, how the fuck are we here already?
Yeah, because that Bailey Io match ended before 10.
Yes,
It was like
and then,
quarter to 10, 10 to 10.
yeah, and then
And
you
I'm
were
like,
keeping like call of what matches were coming. You were like, dude, we're here, and I was like, what?
yeah,
And yeah, and then unfortunately, but fortunately, you had to go get your daughter from fucking work.
yeah. So, I mean, all I missed was, well, I mean, I thought I was going to at least see the entrances because like I thought I had time, but then they ended up letting her out of work early. So I had to go pick her up. But I saw the Cody entrance. I
Which
missed
was great.
Roman. But by the time I come back, because her work's only right down the street, by the time I came back, they were just ringing the bell for the match to start.
Yeah.
So,
All you missed was like his entrance.
yeah, and I went
Um,
back again. I watched it.
I mean, both of them were fantastic. I loved how Cody came out alongside with Brandy.
Yeah,
I loved his mask. I thought that was really cool.
yeah,
And then of course, Roman coming out with the band, of course the drums like very Samoan themed. I liked
yeah.
it. Um, and then I was shocked that Roman came out by himself, like was just a wise man. But I figured that
Well, yeah,
that
as
would
we
be
learned
like
as the match went on, there was a reason why.
there was a reason because as the match progressed and it started getting like a little out of hand, all of a sudden, boom, here comes Jimmy, and I was like, "Fuck, here we go!" Like, here we go. And then of course, yeet, here comes fucking Jay,
Yeah,
puts his bro through a fucking table, and then us as fans are like, okay, well, we're Solo because he didn't
yeah.
come out to them. And then of course,
He
here
hit
we go
Roman twice with the. That was when he hit Roman twice with the
twice with
crossroads,
with the crossroads,
and then
went
it
for the
was getting
third,
ready to go for the third. Solo came out and Samoan spiked him.
spiked him. And
Yeah,
then this, I want to say this because this had me pissing myself, is when Roman pinned him and he kicked out at two, and then Solo was like, uh, he was yelling or whatever, and then I forget what he's. Oh yeah, when he was telling him to get up,
oh yeah,
when he was like, get up, get up. finish his story, finish his story. And he's like, get up, let's go. And all of a sudden, you see Roman go, I know. Like,
Yeah,
I was pissing my pants.
yeah.
Like,
Because like I said, you don't see
you don't see
you
Roman
don't see
break
those
it
two interact like
a
vocally.
lot.
To, like, there's not much conversation between the two of them. It's normally just Roman saying, "Hey, go do this, go do
Or he
that." You know,
streams
because he,
solo and he spikes somebody. But it was
yeah,
so funny when he was like, just like, come on. He's like, I know. Like, I know what the fuck I'm doing. And then they do the spear and the Samoan spike together. I was a little worried there for a second. But then I'm like, okay. And then he kicked out. So I was like, cool. And then, like, I'm at the same time, I'm doing this because, like, I was like, that's still plenty of fucking time.
yeah.
Then they're like setting him up for something else. And here comes fucking John Cena.
Comes the
Like,
Avengers.
comes the Avengers. And the best part is we're geeking out a little bit. The girls are geeking out, like Brandy and Jane are going a little
Yeah,
nuts. Brandy's lost in the element because all these things are common, like collecting together.
yeah,
And Brandy's like, oh, what the fuck? And we can't really try to get Brandy in real quick because it was very, it was happening so fucking quick. And then
yeah.
Cena comes down.
Because he knocked Solo out of the ring, which made sense because Solo was the person that kind of kicked him out
Yes,
a few months back. Like, not kicked him out, but whatever, caused them to leave. And then he gave Roman the attitude adjustment, and then he went out and gave Solo one through the table.
right.
And I'm
And
like,
then
oh, okay.
right, and then as he does, and he gets Solo through the table, the fucking final boss comes out.
Yeah.
And
Which
I was
makes,
like,
I mean, because now you're like, okay, now we're getting back into the Attitude Era characters. Like,
yeah,
now we're rolling back into Triple H's time.
right. It is cool because but then like from here it's just pure chaos. Like the rock comes down and of course John's like, you can't see me. And then he fucking went for the swing, rock bottoms him, and then at the same time, cue the shield fucking music because oh my god, okay. So
Yeah.
then
And then you're
there's you and
looking, and
I
then just
thinking,
like they're kind of teasing you with like a pan of the crowd. But this is something that I learned. The reason that Seth came in kind of side camera, and we really didn't get to see him until Roman, because then Roman got up, realized who was coming,
right.
and gave him a Superman punch. His knee was still fucked up. He was hobbling through the crowd to get to the ring.
Yeah, there's something definitely wrong there,
He
and I
couldn't come
understand.
down through the crowd or run down the ramp like kind of the rest of them did to
Right,
get involved in the match. So they had him come from the side, like the
right,
ring announce, like where Sam and them sit, and they say from what I've heard, he was limping to get into the ring, and they had to
yeah,
actually help him get in. He stood up, got the Superman punch, and that's why he just kind of laid there the rest of the
right.
time.
And then, but to go back, you and I thought that'd be fucking crazy if him and Ambrose came on,
I didn't know what because at that point I didn't know what to expect.
bro. After that, I had no idea either. I was like,
I
well, let's
was,
see how this fucking goes,
yeah, I mean, they had my attention.
right?
Um,
And
but it
then
was, just good old Seth, and then
all of a sudden, he has that weight belt, and he's ready, Mama Rhodes, like he's
yeah.
ready to fucking go in on him, and gong,
Well, but see, that's the thing because at that point the rumors were that it was Cena and Stone Cold.
yes.
So we were all expecting to hear that glass break. But again, rumor has it they couldn't work out some. I don't know if it was like a deal or timing or something.
So I've researched that. It's Austin's sick or his wife is really bad, like
Uh,
really sick. So and then if you think about it too, like that'd have been dope. But at the same time, Austin has nothing with Roman. Like Undertaker has something with Roman.
mhm.
Cena has something with Roman, obviously Seth.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And I was like, all right, that makes a lot more sense. But I mean, bro, we're attitude era kids. I would have fucking died if that glass would have broke.
yeah.
But
But I would still
um,
like so. so that's what I was expecting to hear. But then when you heard the bell toll,
Yeah.
that threw me for a fucking loop.
Yeah. I was like, oh shit.
And then he just and I'm like, all right, well, this is why this match started early. It's gonna take, you know,
He said it's gonna take him like
fucking
45 minutes to
gonna
come down
take
the ring.
Undertaker a good hour to get down to the ring. But now he just fucking popped out of the
He
nowhere.
literally just popped in the fucking middle of nowhere, and then he choke slams the Rock, and the lights go out, and where'd everybody go?
Yeah,
Everybody just dipped. And then it left Seth in the ring with Roman and Cody, which I thought was cool. It pays homage to like the new kids that are doing it, like the new
yeah,
class.
three,
And then of course, now that makes sense to have I'll be your shield.
yeah,
Because it was like now Roman has a chair and he could either finish the story, but he still has this bad blood with Seth, so he cracks him with the fucking chair.
took his eye off the prize.
Yep. And then uh he gets kicked in the
With,
face trying to do a fucking spear.
yeah,
Not one, not two, but three crossroads. While the whole time Heyman is fucking screaming, "No,
he's
no,
like, get up.
get up, get up!" And then, dude, I don't know. My thing was this whole weekend. I was like, that would be fucking wild if that story did not get finished. But when
Yeah,
I saw him go one, two, three, you were there. I popped
yeah,
up out of your fucking chair like, let's fucking go. Like
yeah,
that was fucking great. And it was phenomenal. And Roman at the end is kind of smiling while he's pinning him. Like he
yeah,
knows it's in good hands. So, and then of course everybody comes out. Mama Rose, she comes in the fucking
yeah,
thing. And like uh poor Samantha, she's has tears coming out of her fucking eyes at the
yeah.
same
She
time.
could barely announce that he won.
Dude, I saw Logan Paul was up in the like skybox
Yeah,
watching the match, and when that
yeah,
happened, he was fucking crying. Like he
yeah,
was like, "Dude, that got me." That's that storytelling. Like Trips is fucking good at what he does, man.
yeah,
But then you had like the wrestlers that got defeated by Roman in there, and it was like
yeah.
really cool. So that was really neat. And then like just for that to happen was fucking amazing. So like night two is definitely better than night one because
Oh
that
yeah,
last
like
match just took the fucking whole cake.
yeah.
Like, oh my god, it was fantastic. But overall, WrestleMania 40, they keep saying it's the greatest WrestleMania. Um,
Well, they keep
maybe.
saying it's the biggest, and I think yes, attendance wise and kind of star power wise, it was big, but I
Yes.
don't think it was the greatest.
Greatest. Right.
I think again, we talked about how each match there were some opportunities that they missed, which I mean, you could go back through any pay per view, not even just WrestleManias, and say that, you know what I mean, or
Yeah.
even Raws or SmackDowns. But I mean, that's just the wrestling world. But it's just like I feel like, yeah, again, there were some matches where we could have done without, maybe some stories that we could have done with, and it's just, I mean, I not mad that I watched any of it. I'll watch it again if I ever got an opportunity. I don't know. That's a lot of wrestling to rewatch, but
Right.
it was good. It was good, and yeah, like you said, the last match held it carried that WrestleMania right into a new era, and then we had Raw last night.
Right. I will say it's probably the greatest ending to a WrestleMania I've ever seen.
Yeah,
Because like you and I were discussing, it was like the end game feeling. Like, yeah,
yeah, and
all
that's
these
and
people
that's
had to beat the bloodline.
yeah, and that's where like you were even saying too, like like the storytelling and how like it was cinematic in a sense because and they joked around and called it the Avengers were coming to save Cody, but it's like because it had like that Marvel type of feel to where it was like you had to watch all these Raws and SmackDowns. You had to watch some previous pay-per-views like the Rumble and Elimination Chamber or whatnot, because all of those had the mini story that led up to the big story.
Yes. And then if you think about it, with everybody running in for Cody and being associated with stopping the bloodline, that's that Marvel. You're exactly
Yeah,
right. It's culminates from here and then weaves all like that's crazy
Yeah,
storytelling.
which I mean, for it to be as big of a major overall story, I mean, that's the one thing that wrestling has always been is a so. I mean, they always joke around and say it's a guy soap opera. It's all about stories. It's all about stories. But for it to be that big of a story that has been technically since WrestleMania 39, when Cody lost to Roman last year, that's when I feel like this story really started, and it's been a full year of building up to this. And again, there was many stories within the story. Again, like Roman and the whole 10 years ago, that's what Seth did to him, hit him with the chair and ended Shield. Like, Cena going after Solo because a few months ago he ended his run. Like,
Yeah.
there were so many mini stories within the bigger picture of it all that just made it, yeah, like, and then you're like, all right, let's Raw's gonna be woo, buddy.
Yeah. Only it wasn't.
No, we had
Dude,
gotten. I mean, okay, Cena came back. All right, that. I mean, okay, cool, but that wasn't like I wanted to see. I mean, they brought up Dragonov, and I'm like, okay, you had him fight Shinsuke. Like, I mean, I know the draft's at the end of the month now. They announced that last night,
yeah.
but it's like, so I thought, okay, are they bringing Dragonov up to see how he does in a main card, like a main up on the main card? Do the fans still like him? How's he handle the bigger
Right.
stage? So I felt it was like a test for him. Same thing with what's her name, the women's champ.
Oh my god. Is it Perez?
Yeah, because she came up and wrestled. I don't remember who she wrestled last night. That's how bad I was.
Oh, Indy Hartwell.
Yeah, Indy.
Because that if you watch, that story's starting to tell with Indy
Yeah,
and Candice.
yeah. So it's
So
like, so I'm just like, okay, but there's so many other people. I'm like, I was expecting more out of it. I mean,
right,
and then you had the main match at the end, uh, with
the four way.
the four way, and then
And then there's Punk costing fucking
so
Drew
that's I
McIntyre.
mean that's something there. To be honest, I really didn't see Jay winning that. Like I wasn't sure. I could assume that probably would have been Drew
Yeah,
to
but
get
then
to
I
get
guess
like his
they're
to get
doing
his
this shit with Punk.
yeah. So they're continuing that story with Punk, and then I was like, okay. I mean, as we said, like huge Jay fan, so great to see him getting his props. But I wasn't expecting that.
Right.
Um,
I
but
think Priest and Jay will be a banger. I think that'll be
yeah,
good.
that'll be a good match.
Um, but like the beginning was cool. Like they had Cody come out, do his thing, and then The Rock showed up, and I was like, oh, all right, cool. And then like the crowd was right. It was very awkward. Like,
Yeah, yeah. I,
hey, can you do me a favor? Can I hold your title? Only if I hold your title. I was like,
yeah. Like it was weird. Like I wasn't sure. Like I was like, okay, but then I saw because here's the thing. So I watched. I think you mentioned you did too. Like I watched McAfee yesterday because they were still live at WWE
WWE
World,
World.
and he had Cody on, and Cody mentioned if you pay attention to Raw tonight, where because somebody had asked him what's next, where's the story go from here, and he said, well, you're going to get a tease of that tonight. So yes, I think they don't have an initial number
They
one
don't.
contender for
Yeah,
Cody
they don't
yet.
have a challenger right out the gate. But the
So
storytelling for The Rock.
so again, why not carry over some of this? Because yeah, and I mean, Raw kind of led to it. Like you beat Roman, you didn't beat the
Right,
final boss.
right. But I beat you first. Like,
Yeah, so it's kind of like, all right, all right. But then he was like, "Oh, the Rock's gonna go with." So I'm like, when are we getting this? Like,
I say SummerSlam.
That was my thought was SummerSlam. But then it's like you got pay-per-views between now and then. Like, I mean, they're going to France. Cody's got to fight somebody in France. Like,
Yeah,
they're not gonna go to these other countries and not have their main title holders.
yeah,
Uh, then they have one of the Saudi Arabia matches,
yep.
and they always request they want the big stars over there.
I
So
mean,
it's
that
like
could happen there too.
it could. So it's like I don't know. We'll see how that story gets carried over. But
You know what? You know what The Rock gave him, right?
no.
The heart of Tafiti.
Oh. Uh,
Dude, I was reading comments. I was pissing myself. It was like he gave him the gem from Moana, the heart of Tafiti or whatever. Then it was like, no, it gave him some Papa Tui. It gave him a Target discount. I was like, bruh, come on. Then they're
I
saying
was
that they
I
gave
was wait.
the Rolex
I,
he gave everybody,
what?
that Cody gave everybody from
Yeah.
WrestleMania, that The Rock gave him that back, or it's the Pond Watch of Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, but he wasn't wearing it in the ring, but he had it
He
on
wore
all
it
day. Dude.
at McAfee, yes.
Yeah,
Unless it was
I
like a Hall of Fame ring or something. I don't know.
I thought it has to be something between their dads because the conversation came up of their dads.
Yes.
So it has to be something old school between them two that only they, because he said you're gonna know what it is without looking at it.
Right.
So, and then
And
he
then he said,
mentioned,
"Don't break my heart again."
yeah, and then he was like, if you smell what the rock's cooking, and I'm like, did he just hand him like a pile of shit? Like what? I don't know
Yeah,
what.
like I don't know what's happening here.
It was
Right.
weird.
But yeah, it was awkward. It was, you know, yeah, you know. But
Yeah,
um yeah, and then he did. He really went off into the sunset. Like, see you, dude. Like, bye.
yeah.
Dude, them fans were eating him to pieces. And then when he told them to shut the fuck up,
He was like, you guys broke the attendance for most trailer park trash in one area.
and they fucking went nuts because it's Philly. But
Yeah,
yeah, dude, I was like, oh my, all right. Dude, when they go on Netflix, oh my God, you might as well stop censoring it. Like,
yeah,
seriously. But yeah, like it was awkward. And then like, all right, cool. And the only thing that I caught is when he said, "Oh, this looks good on The Rock," when he had the title.
oh yeah,
And I was like, all right. That's probably gonna lead into that later. And
yeah,
then I was like, okay, cool. And that's how I felt like, oh, all right, we're off to Mania. And then I was like, I just wasted 3 hours of my day. Like,
yeah.
I
It
think
wasn't.
just call it Raw. Like, you don't need to really. You have enough roster. You have enough fucking things going. But you could have had surprises. You could have threw in Alexa Bliss. But did you see before Raw started?
I don't know.
Okay, they were playing this old timey wimey music before Michael Cole and the announcers came out.
Oh
And I was reading in the comments, and we've been to shows live. They never do music unless it's the announcers' music. You
yeah,
know, they used to do it with like Jared King Lawler and of course Jim Ross.
yeah.
And everybody's like, it's Uncle Howdy.
Uh,
So your theory is probably starting to come to fruition.
yeah,
But it really was. And I was like, oh. So I went and looked at the video and I was like, yeah, that could be it for sure. Like for sure. But
yeah.
I
And then
expected a
the,
lot, like more
there
people
was
that were
that.
on with The
Like I guess
Rock.
I don't know if you want to call it a teaser, commercial, trailer, whatever it was. I guess Sheamus is coming back,
Yes.
which is good because he's been gone for a minute.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he wasn't back. You know what I
No,
mean?
you just kind of what like okay, so what's he? I don't. We'll see where they take him. You know
Right. And then you
what
read
story?
comments and it's like MJF, and I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
no. Like, I really don't watch too much AEW. Like we've talked. I watched it when it was like getting good groundswell, and now it's like, oh Jesus.
yeah,
That's the only thing they have. Like
Yeah,
that's really it. Um, but I mean, if I would say seriously, if he ends up signing to WWE, they're dead in the fucking water. Like that's pretty much the end of that. Um, but like, yeah, I expected like I don't know. I think Carmella's just really loving motherhood right now, so that's why she's not.
yeah,
Probably same goes for Bliss, you know. Um, but yeah, like there's other like like female superstars. Like Nikki Cross has been gone. Like she shows up on the red carpet and does stuff like that.
yeah,
But yeah, there was other things that could have been like somewhat intricate into like just put into the show. And I was like, no, we just got two people from NXT.
yeah,
And I mean, our truth. I'm taking it from my cousin is a fucking national treasure. Like when they were sitting there like all rise for the judgment day. And Damien had his and Rhea had his, and they were taking the photo. And here comes fucking Truthy right through the middle of them. Was like, hey, look at
well,
me.
you're not part of Judgment
And he
Day.
was
Yes,
like,
I
oh,
am.
hell no. Like, Damien's like, no, not happening. He was like,
Yeah, that was
you're not in
funny.
the judgment day. He was like, no, I am in the judgment day. And that's when Miz is like, dude, no,
Miz
you're
grabbed his
not.
arm and brought him over to his
Brought
side.
him over, like, dude, I love how Cena is his childhood hero.
Yeah,
Like, and he's older than fucking Cena. Like, it's so funny.
yeah, yeah,
But other than that, to me, it was another Raw. Like, there
yeah. I
was
don't think it was spectacular.
no, there was nah, no, no. And then I'm thinking, like, will SmackDown be eventful? Because obviously, I think Roman will show up. Maybe.
I don't know. Does he address the loss? Does he, or is it he just again rode off into the sunlight and taking a break?
Well, he was on, I guess TikTok, but of course, I don't need TikTok to see TikToks. That's what we have Instagram Reels and Facebook Reels for and shit like that. And of course, like X and any other
Yeah,
social media. But he was like on the elliptical or whatever today, and it was like day one. It starts all over again. And there he was, like in the camera, and he like did a smirk, and I was like, all right, I'm like maybe he will, maybe he won't. You know what I mean?
well, that's the thing too. It's like they didn't have Seth on. Seth could have addressed, but again, I think he's really injured again. So, and I had a feeling he was going to be taken again. If Seth and Roman lost, which again, no idea if that was going to happen or not. It's
Mhm.
unpredictable. I felt like if they did, it was partially because both of those guys are taking a break for like they're going to be gone for at least a month. I would say like a month.
I would say for real, Roman earned that fucking vacation.
Yeah,
Like Roman definitely earned that vacation. I was glad that they gave Roman his flowers and told him thank you, Roman, like all that
yeah,
stuff. Meanwhile, the when he won the Rumble, it was like fuck you, Roman. Like,
yeah.
but I mean that's the fucking love about the WWE universe. Like it's
That's what
crazy.
I bitched. I said something last night because when Rock came out, they booed him, and then for a while there was a Rocky chant, and then they were chanting "fuck you, Rocky," and I'm like, can they pick which way they're going
Right.
here?
I was like, get it together. You want to do one or you want to do the other.
Yeah,
Like
like
seriously. But
what? It is what it is.
right. But I guess we'll see what happens on SmackDown. But
Yeah,
um, I thank uh, our viewers and our listeners for bearing with us because, like I said, we're not a wrestling podcast, but this was like the Super Bowl of fucking wrestling, so I wanted to discuss it, and especially my wonderful friend. Shout out to Kevin Buchanan that's asked me to talk about like PLEs and whatnot. I gave you your weekend. So, going forward, we might touch on some things like, I mean,
yeah,
maybe it's the dawn of a new era here too. Like we're just sliding in there somewhere. It won't be like an hour and a half to 2 hours about it. It's just like, synopsis here and there, like the things that catch somebody's eye.
yeah.
Um, but other than that, we'll be right back to what we used to do. Just being two assholes with a fucking podcast. And um, we'll go back to our regular scheduled podcast. We'll have more guests come in, and we'll have way more things to talk about. Um, that's about all I got. Um, although, like I said, if you haven't watched WrestleMania, please do. Or you could do like Paul Heyman on the Hall of Fame. You could suck my fucking dick.
Yeah.
I mean, by the way, that was fucking great.
Yeah.
That him being inducted, his whole speech had me fucking dying. And it was nice to see Stephanie McMahon back to at least start night 2 of
Yeah.
WrestleMania. That was cool because like it's not her fault her dad's a fucking moron.
No.
Like, you know what I mean? So yeah. And whatever you do, never, ever put what's his name?
Oh, Thunderbolt Passion.
Never put Thunderbolt Patterson on anything ever a fucking again. Never. Never put him on a podcast. Never put him on a fucking TV show. Because when he says, hey, can we take a minute to pray? It ain't no fucking minute.
No, that was his whole speech.
No. Because as soon as he started, I was like, no, 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 no. No. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And the worst part is the person that was with him, he was annoying. And then they just kept talking. And then he kept
Yeah.
praying. And I was like, bro, somebody save this. Save this. And that's all I thought of was Mr. T. I thanked my mom on Mother's Day, on Father's Day, on the 4th of July. And I was like, bro, we love your
Yeah.
mom. Like, we get it. You love your mama. But Thunderbolt Patterson would just cringy. Fucking cringy. No, 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 no. That's the only thing that stuck in my brain from the Hall of Fame. Like, there's Heyman, and then there's Thunderbolt Patterson. Like, two
Yeah.
opposite ends of the spectrum. Like, nah, I'm good.
Good bit opposite.
Yeah, right. But we will see y'all next week. Of course, that is Big E. I am the Big Cho, and y'all enjoy the rest of your week.
Later.
Later.